Hello, sportsmen. Oh, do I have an interview that you have got to see. You know, over the past few years, Ted Nugent has stirred up a lot of controversy with his whack 'em and stack 'em slogan. He's made a lot of people uncomfortable with the way he defends hunting. Well, I thought it was time that old Tedley and I got together and had a heart-to-heart. Barbara Walters, stand back. I'm interviewing Ted Nugent. You stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost with Ted Nugent and other ideas for the practical sportsman.
Is hunting safe? Yes. Is hunting necessary? Yes. Is hunting good? Yes.
March is the month that is critical for white-tailed deer across the northern United States. Since December, their metabolism has been low, in fact, the lowest of the year. The rate at which their bodies convert food and fat to energy drops considerably during the winter. Now, the deer remain relatively inactive until March. That's why the number of deer you see killed on the highways in the winter is minimal. They just don't move much. The factors that put the most stress on deer during the winter when they're trying to conserve energy are the depth of the snow, the compaction of the snow, and that affects how easily they can walk through it, and the wind chill temperatures, which cause them to burn up their fat. Now, March is the critical month because no matter what the weather is, no matter how deep the snow is, their metabolism automatically speeds up in March. They need more food, and they need to move around to find it. Now, the does need more nutrition because the fawns they're carrying are beginning a growth spurt. In fact, towards the end of March, the food intake of a doe becomes pretty much geared to feeding the fawns inside her. That's why the weather in March is critical. If the winter hangs on, the snow doesn't melt, and it remains extremely cold, the deer can't get the food they need. But if the weather breaks, like it does in an average year, the grass starts sprouting and the deer can get around to satisfy their increasing appetites. And the fact that their body metabolism jumps back into gear isn't a problem. Now, if you were to go back and, say, sit in your hunting blind in the spring, you'd be surprised at what you'd see. Those scrape lines that you watched in the fall would be followed in the spring. I mean, the deer use those trails year-round. The bucks don't paw the ground under the licking branches. They don't make scrapes. But the deer check those licking branches throughout the year. Bucks and does will both stop to rub their heads or do whatever they do with those branches. Some type of communication goes on year-round at the licking branches. Now, in May, just before the fawns are dropped, female deer become extremely territorial. Their activity increases, and May is second only to November for the number of highway accidents with deer. Now, right now, those accidents are low and deer metabolism is still slow, but March is the month of transition for Michigan's whitetails.
A couple of quick scattered shots from viewers on regulating deer baiting. Roger Kent from Sparta suggests, let's help our DNR by paying a tax on the bait we purchase to pay for more DNR officers on the road. And Todd Rand from Port Huron expanded on this idea. Establish a baiting permit system where hunters could purchase baiting permits for either bow or gun season for $3 each, or both seasons for $5. Now, this would improve the image of bait hunters, along with weeding some of them out, which would satisfy the anti-baiters. It would also make our political geniuses in Lansing happy because they would have more sportsmen's money to waste on a lot of meaningless projects that don't pertain to sportsmen, wildlife, or conservation of any kind. Then everybody would be happy. Todd Rand, that's a very cynical point of view. But there may be something to this money angle. Now, the DNR has been working hard to hold meetings around the state, getting sportsmen stirred up on the issue of regulating baiting. And while hunters are focusing on this issue, look what I found in the newspaper recently. Higher license fee proposal meets with resistance. It seems that while the DNR is staging a public wrestling match on baiting, they're trying to slip through a 52% increase in fishing and hunting license fees, and they'd like to put this in effect in 1996. Well, this brings up a question of law that we sportsmen certainly ought to discuss. What do you think? Is the DNR trumping up the baiting issue as a smokescreen for a 52% increase in license fees? Is this what you'd call a public relations bait and switch? Yeah, I'd like to hear your comments on this, and at the same time, let me know what you think about a fee hike. If you have to pay a 52% increase, do you think sportsmen should get more in return? What should we get for a 52% fee hike? Or are you satisfied with what we're getting now? Let me know how you stand on this question of law. And this one was 232 pounds dressed as a 12-point. Chippewa County, Carl Morrow. Look at the palmation here. Dark swamp buck rack. Man alive, that is something else. It's on the coding here, it says you were in a ground blind, you were baiting, you were grunting, and you were on a tree scrape line.
Yeah, that's correct.
You wanted to narrow your odds down as much as you could, right?
Well, it's just the way it came together, I guess. The bait was there for quite a while.
How much bait? This is kind of the year of the bait. How many tons?
I guess 1.5 to maybe two, no more than 2 ton.
No, seriously, how much?
About 1.5 tons.
A ton and a half, okay. Okay, a ton and a half. Now this is of carrots or what?
Mostly sugar beets.
Okay, this was on private land?
On the backside of private land, just off it on some state land in a spruce swamp.
Okay, so you had this big honking bait pile out there. The type that everybody says only the rich people can have bait piles like that.
Well, it got whittled down over time, but by the opener, there was still plenty there to attract them, and there weren't a lot of deer seen. I saw a doe at 8 a.m., and after it fed for a while, it went over to the scrape line where I saw this buck appear, and it sort of rubbed its face on the tree branches over the scrapes and took off, and then at 10 minutes before 4, I was adjusting my heat in the blind and picked my head up and saw this standing right over those scrapes.
Now hold it. You got a bait pile that you say is 1.5 tons of bait out there that everybody is saying attracts all the deer for miles around. You see one doe on opening morning.
That's correct.
And she goes to the scrape line.
Right.
And in the afternoon, you see one buck that's over at the scrape line.
That's about right, yep.
So what's your opinion of a 1.5 ton bait pile?
It seemed to work.
Oh, seemed to work. Yeah, but it's supposed to be drawing the deer in for miles. You're supposed to have them lined up about 3 deep eating this bait.
They were over my buddy Scott's blind right there, feeding on his. And
I see.
But
well, this rack is something else. Have you heard of other racks like this up in?
I haven't seen
country?
you up there. No, I haven't.
Man, I think that is a terrific kind of rack to have on the wall, don't you?
I agree.
Outstanding. Well, Carl Morrow, way to go.
Thank you.
That interview was videotaped at the recent Hunting Awards banquet in Lansing, where we honored the handgun, muzzleloader, bow, and rifle hunters from 1994. The banquet where we videotaped the stories for shotgun hunters will be March 18th in Lansing, and the fishing banquet will be April 1st. Now, these stories will be used in our Practical Sportsman Trophy Tales for the coming year. You can write to us for ticket information or give us a call. A tip-up at sunset. When a fish hits and the flag pops up, will you be able to see it? Well, probably not if you're inside a shanty. When the light fades, you need something better to signal a fish than just a flag. And here it is, designed by Matt Radzilowski from components he bought at Radio Shack. The light bulb with holder cost $2.49. The buzzer ran $3.29. The switch was $1.99, battery connectors, 65 cents, and the experiment box, as it's called, $2.19. Now, that's a total of about $11 for the components. Not difficult to put together. Mark the holes for the buzzer on the cover of the box and drill the 5 holes to install that little speaker. Then you need a drill bit that's 11/32 to poke the hole in the top of the box for the light bulb. Now, the only 2 pieces of machinery, I guess, that you need for this project are an electric drill and a soldering iron. So that's no big deal. You should have those in your toolbox anyway. This flashing red light doesn't look very big right now, but at dusk, when the natural light is low, you'll be able to see this flashing light easily. Now, you could probably get away with twisting the wires tightly and using little teeny wire nuts, but soldering is easy, and you know the connections will hold. Now, this unit is powered by 2 9-volt batteries. Clip them in, put the cover on, and then you get to see and hear what you've accomplished. Hey, this is an exciting moment. Well, we know it works, so you can put the cover on and install the alarm to the wooden frame of any traditional style tip-up. Matt had to put a vertical shaft on the polar tip-up, which was simple to do. A wire leader clips to the tip of the flag and to the switch, so when the flag trips, as the fish peels out the line, you can see and hear the alarm, which tells you for sure that the tip-up has released. Now, you don't need this on a bright, sunshiny day, but when the light is dim or you're inside a shanty and not watching the tip-up every second, this alarm can be useful. You'll be able to find the plans for Matt's tip-up alarm, along with many other plans for outdoor inventions in the Practical Sportsman Manual of Plans, Inventions, and Product Tests, which will be the 4th Practical Sportsman resource book this year, coming out in December. Now, if you have any ideas or plans for outdoor inventions that you'd like to have published in this book, or that you think Matt Radzilowski might want to demonstrate on the Sportsman's Workbench part of this show, please send it to us. Or if you'd like information on our new Practical Sportsman publications, write to us at Box 1001, Bath, Michigan 48808, and we'll send you information on the benefits of becoming a Practical Sportsman member.
Because something must have driven me to go in the woods every day of the season, and I didn't kill anything.
I don't think you could explain why. You could take a stab at it.
These people know.
Yeah.
And I think I've done a good job in articulating that spiritual, instinctual attraction to the outdoors, and that the Call of the Wild isn't just a Jack London title. There really is a Call of the Wild. And
but
whether
it's really to define it,
personal,
explain it, it's
very personal. However, I have explained it, and I've done a decent job of it beyond the choir on MTV. If you'd have seen the special I did about hunting on MTV, you know, those drooling idiots needed to hear it. And in the big media out there, whether it was my white-tailed deer unveiled on the Rush Limbaugh TV show, or my half-dozen interviews with Rush to 20 million people per shot, my 2-hour national show with G. Gordon Liddy on the history of bow hunting in America, I believe that I have attracted non-hunters and non-conservationists to better understand what it is that we in America today who hunt, we are, regardless of method, bow and arrow, shotgun, rifle, trapping, those of us that respond to the Call of the Wild are really pursuing a response. We are responding to a pure instinct. Like, I'm a father. My paternal instincts don't have to be explained to me. They are pure. The instinct a mother has to protect her child, you don't have to explain that to a mother. To hunt, it doesn't have to be explained to us. However, man's willful dissociation from nature, man's abandoning nature with modern life, the simplicity and the goal to make things easier in the modern electronic world, has tainted man's instincts and has compromised man's instincts. And I think in these mega media television shows, on ABC Sunday morning 2 weeks ago, you should have seen me. I was so proud, man, because again, ABC television, where they only have anti-hunting stories and anti-gun stories and anti-trapping stories, there was the Nuge with his bow and arrow and his children, and a story about my wholesome family lifestyle. The fact that John Engler named me to represent the year of the family in Michigan, that the Recreation and Parks of Michigan named me Celebrity of the Year, that the Motor City Madman, when he takes a shower and relaxes, is just another white guy. And he's not a bad white guy, and he hunts and kills game on ABC television with the bow and arrow to provide sustenance for his family, responding to his instincts. I articulated the Practical Sportsman's beliefs and lifestyle into a number of households that we could not have penetrated without me. And am I bragging? Sure. I'm real proud of this.
Yeah,
it has to be
should
done.
be.
It has to be done. And this is the missing link, I think, in the perception of the hunting image of this country. We are not overweight, inbred, tobacco-chewing, slobbering, drunken fools who shoot cartoon characters and the occasional nephew.
But now hold it. Before you go on, what's the matter with an overweight?
Nothing. But you know the image I'm talking
Slobbering.
about. I'm talking about.
Just because somebody slobbers, Ted, let's carry this thing another step further. And you go like that, just because somebody wears their hat like that.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing there,
Okay.
but let's talk specifics here. When there's a story in the mega media about hunting, it is a poaching violation, and it is usually an ungroomed, unkempt,
Yeah, but
rude,
people could
drunken
say that
person.
about you.
But I'm not rude, and I'm not unkempt.
Well,
I've got
you should get your hair cut.
try it.
Huh?
Right here, the Practical Sportsman broadheads at 50 yards. I'll take what he's got left, and he'll go for the ponytail. Yeah. You know what I'm saying. I think it's conduct.
In a way, what I'm trying to do is represent the people who you might be offending.
I'm not
who
knocking
actually,
overweight. Some of my favorite hunters are overweight. What I'm saying is there is an image projected by the mega media that shows us to be irresponsible.
Well, not only that, it's taking the hunter, the overweight, the tobacco chewing, all of that, and throwing it in and saying it's all Gomer.
Right.
But
And
it's not. You can. The hunter isn't Gomer. The overweight isn't Gomer.
No, it's not.
We have a right. We have a right to overeat.
Absolutely. In fact,
We have a
I
right
do.
Yes. Yeah,
Eating is
right.
my specialty.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
overweight right now. This snake had to crawl into me this morning. I believe that our representation in the mega media will be the pivotal factor in America voting for us or voting against us. And I'd like to think it boils down to conduct. And am I uppity? Yeah. Do I use terms?
Hold it. What do you mean uppity?
Well, I'm spirited in my presentation whenever I speak in the media, and I use cocky phrases, but if I didn't use cocky phrases, the truth about wildlife would have never gotten the media in the first place, because they're not going to... You could be just perfectly groomed and go to a special wildlife council and learn how to talk about the scientific facts of the biological equation of sustained yield, and that the carrying capacity of the specific habitat of your indigenous region is capable of only sustaining X amount of these animals based on the population. Shut up. These kind of guys, shut up.
Hey, you could do it, though.
You don't represent us. Sportsmen are uppity. Sportsmen are passionate, i.e. excitable about hunting. So when I get on MTV, when I get on ABC and CBS and Fox and a college video program and all these different major arenas of public scrutiny, I think that ultimately they have a sense that I know what I'm talking about, ultimately that I care. And when I bring with me credentials, when a Governor Sullivan of Wyoming invites Ted Nugent to initiate the Hunters for the Hungry program, my goodness, how wholesome can you get? Where we harvest this game in Wyoming to feed the hungry people and the homeless. Well, that's a beautiful image. When I have a Ted Nugent camp for kids, this is bulletproof imagery. And I didn't do it because it's bulletproof imagery. I do it because I care about children. But it's these statements that I bring to the forefront, that I'm a hunter. I kill game with my bow and arrow, and my rifle and my shotgun and my handgun, and I trap, and I kill furry critters. But I raise a family, and I do it with morals and with ethics and with responsibility. And you can be a wild Motor City madman, loincloth-clad, rope-swinging guitar player, just like you can be a welder, and sparks will fly, and it'll be hot, and you'll get greasy and muddy. But then you take a shower, and you take your child in your lap, and you're just a good dad. And I've got to get the non-hunting public to realize that even if you are overweight, and even if you do chew tobacco, are you law-abiding? Yes. Are you responsible? Yes. Is hunting safe? Yes. Is hunting necessary? Yes. Is hunting good? Yes. And that's what I'm doing in the big media, where typically we've had the door slammed in our face. They can't slam it on mine because I'm the Motor City madman.
Now, for our ice fishing report, I guess it's suitable to say that all of us who ice fish dress like Gomers. That's how you have to dress when you go ice fishing, except now it's kind of a dangerous time. Even though the conditions we got from this past weekend look pretty good around the state, watch this ice. Saginaw Bay, well, they're getting some walleye, some perch. Selfridge here at Lake St. Clair, pike and pan fish fishing is good. Down in Dexter, Mill Creek, the report is good and fair fishing for various species. Trenton Lighthouse, this is where you have to watch the ice, on the rivers especially. They're getting jumbo perch, lots of small pike. Now on the west side of the state, of course, we're going to see the steelhead fishing improving as it gets warmer. Saugatuck, browns and steelhead are good, and bluegills great. And this last ice is often very good fishing. Whitehall, fair, good pike, walleye, steelhead, Ludington. Same story over here at Lake Mitchell. Well, pike so-so, but they are getting limits of gills. So this is what's coming on right now. Oscoda, steelhead, good in the river. And of course, this will improve up in Indian River, also reporting good fishing. Drummond Island, we finally have some fair fishing for pike up here, 7 to 8 pounders. Harry's Place, burbot. Those are the lawyers, they're called. They're moving into the shallows now. Lindquist's fishing is slow up there because of the weather. Over here at Bay Shore, now we're going to have to watch the ice again as the ice retreats from the big lake. Even though the fishing is a little slow, the ice conditions do tend to be dangerous. Scott Superior Inn in Ontonagon, good pike fishing, but perch and walleye have been a little bit slow. Well, we zipped through quite a bit of material on this program, a little how-to in the Sportsman's Workshop, viewer letters, interview with Uncle Ted. You know, the whole idea of this show is to give you ideas of things you can talk about relating to the outdoors, to get you interested in projects that you can do at home so that you can have more fun and become a more practical sportsman. But there's one necessary ingredient here that I don't cover on the TV show, and that is you have to get outdoors, because it's a great place to be. See you next week.